Before we ever step inside the Winchester Mystery House, I want you to picture something simple. A woman sitting alone in a dark parlor in the late 1800s, a candle flickering beside her, and a silence so heavy it feels like the air is holding its breath. Her name is Sarah Winchester, and by this moment in her life, she has already buried more than most families lose in an entire generation. But her story doesn't begin with ghosts. It begins with grief. Sarah was the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, money built on a weapon that changed American warfare forever. A rifle so efficient, soldiers said that it could load on a Sunday and shoot all week, and while the profits rolled in, the lives taken by those rifles followed like an invisible shadow behind the family's name. Sarah's life unraveled quickly. Her infant daughter died from a rare illness. Her husband, William Winchester, lost his battle with tuberculosis, and her mother, father, in-laws, and close family members died all in quick succession. Almost everyone she loved was gone, and the silence that remained after each funeral grew louder and louder. People who knew Sarah described her as intelligent, educated, graceful, and completely shattered. She became reclusive, her health declined, her mind spiraled into questions no one around her could answer. And that's where the legend begins, because somewhere in the fog of her grief, Sarah sought help from a medium. Some say this medium was famous, but others say that she was secretive, working in New England's underground spiritualist circles. But I heard it said that the medium asked Sarah a single question: do you know why death follows your family? And Sarah, exhausted by sorrow, whispered, "Tell me." Well, the answer became the foundation of one of the strangest houses in American history. According to the story, the medium claimed the spirits of those killed by the Winchester rifles were restless, angry, and searching, and they knew the name Winchester. But she also claimed there was one way to stay ahead of them: to build. Not a home, not a mansion, not even a residence, but a structure so confusing, so ever-changing that no spirit could follow her through it. And so Sarah left Connecticut behind, and she traveled all the way to San Jose, California, where she bought a small farmhouse on a lonely stretch of land. Locals watched as she arrived alone, dressed in mourning black, and immediately began hiring carpenters. Not for a project, not for a renovation, but for a lifetime. Construction started, and it never stopped. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, for nearly 38 years straight. No blueprints, no master plan, no instructions given room by room, hallway by hallway, night after night. Workers built staircases that dead-ended into ceilings, doors that opened into brick walls, windows installed in the floors, rooms constructed, then sealed, then forgotten behind newer rooms. Neighbors said that the hammer sounded like a heartbeat, unceasing, irregular, and impossible to ignore. At night, lanterns glowed through half-built hallways like workers moved like ghosts beneath scaffolding. People began asking questions. Why would a widow build a house like this? Why never stop? What was she trying to escape? And that's where the conspiracies grew. Some said that Sarah believed the spirits followed her west, and some said that she held nightly seances, guided by ghosts who demanded new rooms. And I've heard people whisper that the house itself grew hungry, feeding on her loneliness, her wealth, and her fears. But the truth is simpler and more disturbing. Sarah Winchester built because she believed that motion meant survival, and if construction stopped, she feared the spirits would find her. She also created a labyrinth, a mansion that rewrote itself as fast as grief rewrites a life, a place where no path is ever straightforward, no door ever guaranteed to lead you where you expect. Some rooms were ornate and crafted with Tiffany glass and hand-carved wood. Others were barren, cold, silent, unfinished, as if abandoned mid-thought, and everywhere, the sense that the house was not built for the living. By the time Sarah died in 1922, the house had grown into a spiraling 160-room maze of contradictions. Construction ended the moment that her pulse stopped, and the silence that followed was said to be so sudden, so absolute, that the worker dropped his hammer because the quiet felt wrong. shouldn't be here, but I'm glad that you are. I want you to imagine standing in the threshold of the Winchester Mystery House, not as a tourist with a camera, but as a guest who's been invited after dark. The guides have gone home, the doors have been locked, and the house settles around you with a sigh that sounds almost human. Because once you're inside, you realize something quickly. This isn't a mansion. It's a mind. And it's a mind made out of wood and plaster, glass and shadow, grief and geometry, a place where logic bends, floors shift, and directions lose their meaning. The first hallway looks innocent enough, but then you notice the doors, some too small, some too tall, some leading nowhere at all. A staircase climbs 7 steps up and then drops 11 steps down, only to dead end into a blank wall. Historians say Sarah Winchester built these contradictions to confuse spirits, a supernatural defense system disguised as bad architecture. But I heard something different from an old guide years ago. He said the house feels alive to him and to anyone who walks alone. He said it breathes in drafts that appear from nowhere, and that footsteps echo in patterns that don't match your own. If you hear someone walking behind you, don't turn around. The house will make sure that you don't like what you see. So even skeptics admit the energy shifts rooms to room. The conservatory feels too warm, as if sunlight seeps in, even when the curtains are drawn. And the seance room, Sarah's private chambers, has 3 exits but only 1 entrance, a one-way path designed so that spirits could leave but never return. Some say she held seances every night at midnight, and others say she only entered when the house demanded it. But nearly everyone agrees something happened in that room. The architecture around it twists like a riddle, doors opening too thin, air, corridors narrowing into darkness, a hidden closet that contains nothing but cold air and silence. Workers later confessed that they were never allowed to linger there. If they did, Sarah would appear silently in the doorway and dismiss them without raising her voice. She guarded that space the way a person guards a wound. One conspiracy theory whispers that she wasn't summoning spirits. She was negotiating with them. What she negotiated? No one knows, but whatever the agreement was, it required constant construction, and the house obeyed, because as strange as this sounds, there are stories, quiet ones, told by overnight staff about doors locking themselves from the inside, about windows that fog over in warm weather, about cold spots that move slowly like someone passing through a room. A caretaker once said that he heard pacing upstairs in a hallway that no longer exists. Another said that he passed by a window and saw a woman dressed in black standing behind him, except when he spun around, the hallway was empty. But the oddest thing is this. The house edits itself. Walls shift subtly with settling beams. Floorboards warp over time and drafts reroute. The structure moves not dramatically, not all at once, but in a way that feels intentional. Rooms that once aligned now seem suddenly off, and staircases are more crooked with every decade. Some engineers claim that the house is naturally unstable, but I heard a past owner say that every time we restore one part, another part changes, and it never stays still. Tourists laugh at that, but locals, they don't. Because when you stand at that house long enough, you begin to feel like you're being guided, not trapped, not threatened exactly, but gently repositioned or nudged, like a hand on your back that isn't quite there. You may start to sense you're being watched from the corners of your eyes, which never quite reach, and you may feel the weight of 160 rooms pressing inwards, each one holding a story or a memory or something that refuses to be forgotten. Sarah Winchester didn't build a home. She built a labyrinth meant to confuse death itself. But once you're inside, it's not hard to wonder if she also built a prison, or a sanctuary, or something more sentient than anyone realized. And here's the truth that makes the Winchester Mystery House unlike any other haunted structure in America. You don't explore it, it explores you. There's a moment, usually somewhere around the 3rd or 4th room, when people stop joking about the Winchester Mystery House and they start whispering instead. Maybe it's the silence that hangs in the air like dust. Maybe it's the hallways that don't go where they should, or maybe it's the feeling that something is following you, but only when you're not looking. Whatever the reason, once you reach the deeper wing of the house, you begin to understand the heart of the story. This place wasn't built out of madness. It was built out of fear. To understand why, we have to go back to Sarah herself. By the time that she moved west to California, she had lost her husband, lost her baby, and inherited a fortune built on the Winchester rifle, a weapon so deadly that soldiers once said it could harvest a field of men. And it was said that Sarah believed every soul taken by that rifle echoed in her life, not metaphorically, but literally. Some say that she visited a medium who told her that she was cursed, but others say that she already knew. But almost everyone agrees she built the house to keep something away, or to keep something contained. Now, historians will tell you Sarah was depressed, reclusive, grieving, and they'll point to arthritis, the trauma of loss, and the weight of running an estate alone. They'll say that the construction was simply a coping mechanism, a way to stay busy. But I heard a different version from a former archivist who worked for the property for decades. He said Sarah didn't build rooms at random. She built them in response, as if the house told her what it needed. Walls went up, and not because she planned them, but because she felt compelled, pushed by something she never named. When workers asked what she was trying to accomplish, she avoided the question. When they asked about the strange angles and impossible hallways, she reportedly said, "The spirits are pleased. Leave it be." Then there's the nighttime ritual. It was said that every night at midnight, Sarah entered the seance room, not always to summon, but sometimes to listen. Workers claimed lights flickered in rooms with no electricity. Neighbors said that the house glowed faintly from within, and one newspaper at the time reported that Sarah believed the spirits gave her daily building instructions. And if that's true, then the Winchester Mystery House isn't just a relic, it's a collaboration between a grieving widow and the ghosts that she carried. But the eerie part isn't the seances, it's what happened after she died. Because construction stopped instantly, not a single worker continued. They claimed the house felt finished, yet strange events continued on. Caretakers heard footsteps in the unfinished wing, the one sealed after the 1906 earthquake, where Sarah was trapped for several hours. Some say that's where her spirit was last seen, wandering the hallway with a candle, as if still flickering with the architecture. Visitors report seeing a small shadowed figure in the corner of their vision. Some feel their shirts tugged gently as they climbed the switchback stairs. One security guard said that he saw the door open by itself, slow and deliberate, as if someone was guiding it with care. But the most unsettling idea comes from a theory whispered among longtime staff. They say the house isn't haunted by ghosts. The house is haunted with purpose. That Sarah didn't build a prison for spirits. She built a container for something older, something restless, something tied to the land long before rifles or fortresses or even curses. A labyrinth of a cage, and the cage is a warning. And the house, with its 160 rooms and endless corridors, might not have been meant to protect Sarah. It might have been meant to protect us. When you walk out of the Winchester Mystery House, the first breath of sunlight feels like waking up from a dream. The colors are brighter, the air is sharper, and the silence outside feels different, lighter somehow. Because whether you believe the stories or not, you leave with the sense that you stepped inside someone's fear, someone's grief, someone's unfinished conversation with the dead. You also leave with a strange truth. Sarah Winchester wasn't trying to hide from the past. She was trying to manage it. If this interested you, reach out in the comments and let me know what part was the most intriguing. I love to talk weird, wild, and mysterious. Besides, I'm a travel advisor, history nerd, and mystery chaser, and I'm here to take you to the places that you never even knew existed.